Hi guys, I hope you can all hear me. So it's Susie here from the Wolf Cubs. I'm the assistant leader, and tonight I am going to teach you all how to make Bolognese sauce. It's something that you can all cook probably very independently, and the older ones, definitely the scouts and over, can do this on their own, so with minimal help from mum and dad. So I hope you guys are all well and you're home safe and you're loving the virtual boot camp. It's lots of fun, isn't it? I've had a bit of a crazy day. I'm a bit tired. I've been dragging wood all day up the garden and onto the fire to try and keep it going. So listen, I know everybody likes Bolognese sauce, and it's one thing that you can make that you can all have on camp, because you can have it with jacket potatoes, you can have it with rice, you obviously can have it with pasta, and you can make it into lasagna and all sorts of things. So I'm very quickly going to sort of run you through it. I'm here in my garden in Fressingfield, and I hope you guys are all home and ready to feel hungry. So I've borrowed Jack's cookery book, which is a great cookery book, and it's one he's had for a while. It's called the Beginner's Cookbook. It's an Usborne, and we're going to do the penne bolognese. Okay, so I'm gonna have to keep picking things up and putting them in front of the camera. So the first thing we're going to do, because obviously you've got to wash your hands, and you all know the routine with washing your hands at the moment because of COVID-19. You have to wash them for at least 20 consecutive, yeah, all the way. Keep going until it's done, and then we're going to clean our surface before we chop with an anti-bac. So we're going to give it a quick spray, and then we're going to give it a wipe down. Yeah, you should actually leave the spray on for 10 seconds because anti-bac spray needs 10 seconds to work. So the contact is 10 seconds before you wipe it off. So I wiped it off too quickly, so I'll just leave it there for a sec. Okay, so we're going to start off with an empty pan. Here's an empty pan, and I'm going to turn it on. So I'm going to bring it up to temperature. You put it straight up as high as you like. I don't know whether you're gas or electric, but go nice and high because you're going to fry some onions to start with. It's called sweating. So we're going to start with some olive oil. I always cook with extra virgin olive oil because it's so much better for you than cooking oil. Lash it in. Don't be nervous. Okay, so now it's in the bottom there, and you'll see it starting to get hot. Okay, so I'm going to start with some Spanish onions. So I'll show you what I've got here. These are Spanish onions. They're lovely and sweet, and they're not too pungent, so they're not going to take over. So start with these because they're massive as well, so they're really easy. So I've got some here that I've chopped and cut already, so I've got one in half there that I'm going to cut with here. So I'm going to clean this board now and give it a really good wipe and get all that anti-bac off. Okay, now we're ready to chop. So I have here an incredibly sharp knife. Always hold the handle nice and firm. And when you're cutting, can you see this? You hold your fingers like a claw and you hold them on the top like this. So if your knife slips, you slips away from you and not towards you. It's like when you're using a penknife, when you're whittling, you never go towards your body. You always work away from your body. Okay, so we're going to hold it like a claw to grip, and then we're going to slice it down like this. Okay, it's quite simple. And you go across like this. My oil is getting nice and hot now. Take the lid off. Don't let your oil get too hot because olive oil will burn. Now, this one I made earlier. I'm a little bit cheap. So I've chopped these really, really finely, if you can see that. I'm just going to move the pan away. I'm going to pop them in. You ready? Hold it away from you. This is called sweating. Yeah? when you sweat the moisture out of the onions and form a protective seal on them. So it's like a small caramelization that seals all the flavour into the onion. So I'm just going to get rid of these and chop them up finely enough. So the next thing into the pan is the garlic. The garlic's a wonderful, wonderful ingredient. They look like this. Okay. And when they're peeled, which I did last night ready, they look like this. And this is a really good tip, because if you want to keep garlic fresh, and because this will go off quite quickly, the best way to keep it is to put in a pot some extra virgin olive oil, peel them and put them all inside it and pop them in the fridge. It will last for months. Okay, so here's some garlic that I chopped yesterday. The best thing about garlic is it slightly thins your blood, so therefore your blood travels around your body a lot faster. And the other thing about garlic is mosquitoes hate it. So when you're on summer camp, if you have bolognese sauce with garlic in it, they're going to stay away from you, okay, because mosquitoes hate garlic. So I haven't chopped any of this. I'm just going to get my hand in there, grab a couple out, and I'm going to chop them. So again, with the claw, and then chopping very, very finely, okay? And try now to hold the tip and work through the garlic to rough it up, basically. It doesn't have to be pretty, just has to be very small because it's very strong. So you've got basically one onion in there now and 2 garlics. Okay, can you see that? I hope you guys are having a lovely time. We've had a lovely day so far, and the fire's roaring now, and we're ready for the campfire. Okay, so in the pan now we have some onions and some garlic, so it's all looking a bit like this. Okay, see if you can see it there. Don't worry about the brown bit on the bottom, that's fine. It's just a well-used pan. Okay, so now you're leaving that on, and that should sweat together. So the next thing in is the meat. So this is Suffolk beef, and I've had around. So I've got my weighing scales out and I've weighed it out. So next in is this. Okay. Now once this is in, you want to be moving it quite a lot. Okay, to get it going. Okay, so can you see it there? Let me get it in. You work it into the pan, you work it into the olive, into the garlic, into the onion, and then you try and get it separating as much as possible. These are really good because they've got holes in them, and it means you can go through the beef much quicker and separate it, otherwise you end up with big lumps, and nobody wants big lumps. So the meat's going for it nicely now. Can you see there it's starting to brown? I don't know if you can see. Bolognese sauce is so versatile. It's such a, you can literally just, you know, stick it in a cup and heat it up and eat it just like that. It's got everything you need. It's got meat, it's got protein, full of vitamins, it's packed full of flavour. Okay, so the meat's going nicely there now. So next in is a carrot. Okay, some I peeled earlier. So I peeled these ones. Okay, and now I've got some here. I'm a bit ready, steady, cook. I've got some ready. I'll show you how to chop a carrot. So you peel the carrot like this, and then with your knife again, remember the claw. hold down the carrot and then tip in, chop off the head, and tip in and chop off. Yeah, gone. Now, I don't know if you can see me, let's get rid of those garlic. Going to go straight down the middle of the carrot, like so. Okay, just stir it. The meat's going lovely and brown now. The flavours are starting to come together. Now you're going to lie the carrot like this. You're going to go in with the claw. You're going to hold it and chop down the middle 3 or 4 times. Okay. Don't worry about it being too precise. It doesn't matter. Just as long as they're roughly the same size. Otherwise, they'll cook at different times. And again, the claw on the top, tip in and down. Okay. And then go straight down the carrot. You obviously won't be able to do it quite as fast as me, but I've been doing it for 30 years. So I'm going to chuck it in. Yep. Along with the little pot that I made earlier, they go in as well. Okay. I'm wondering if we can convince Richard Betts to come back tonight to help us with our campfire songs, because he's so good at it. Might send him a message later and see if he'll join us. So you can see there, it's all starting to get really hot in here now. And you've got, can you see that? Okay. Keep pushing it in from the outside and turning it over, okay? Don't worry about anything sticking to the bottom, because with this recipe you actually need that little bit of burn, not burned, it's like a caramelized meat that you're actually going to deglaze in a minute, and I'll show you how to do that when we get there. Okay, so next in, mushrooms. So I use button mushrooms. These are from Suffolk. Okay, that I'll just chop a couple just to show you. So you get your mushroom. I like to leave the stalk on. Lots of people don't, but for me, it's all a mushroom. But you can take the stalk out, and then again with the claw, chop about 6 or 7 sections through the mushroom. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so mushrooms are going in. We just finish that. So give those rabbits. So this one I made earlier. I'm good at this. I'm sure there's a program where they did all this. I can't remember what it was called. You know, where they made it all earlier. Was it Blue Peter? Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, here's one I made earlier. So here's the mushrooms going in. Okay. So as you can see, we're filling up nicely in here now. We're starting to get quite a little situation going on. So that's your main ingredients. Okay. The next is a little bit of wine, but it's only cooking wine, so don't panic. You can't actually drink this wine because it wouldn't make you very well. It's a special cooking wine, and you use it just to make sauces a bit richer. It's quite low in alcohol, and it's once it's cooked, there's no alcohol. Okay, so when alcohol is cooked, it disperses and then there's none. It evaporates. Okay, so it's just the flavour. So I'm just going to make a bit of a noise. You ready? And this is where we're going to deglaze it now, and all the stuff that was, all the sticky stuff that stuck to the bottom from the meat fats is now going to come off with that red wine. Okay, let's see. I don't know if you can see, because you can maybe see the colour of the sauce is starting to come through a little bit. I don't know if you can see that anyway. So now it's full volume, full power. Now when I do black pepper, I like freshly ground black pepper because it tastes so much better than the powdered. So the powdered pepper for me tastes nothing. So if you've got one of these, it's a good idea. You can either use one of these, or I like to use one of these, which is a grinder. So I use these whole black peppercorns. They come in a big pack for me because I use a lot of them, and they look a bit like that if you can see them. And you put them in the grinder, and when you grind it, it comes out like that, and the smell is amazing. And then you just literally put a little bit in your sauce, not too much, the amount you'd use for a sprinkle. Okay, so now we've got everything going on in here nicely, and then we're going to put in a little bit of Lee and Perrin sauce, Worcester sauce, probably the best ingredient on the planet. I'll shove some of that in. Now we're going to add, I'm nearly finished, believe it or not. I'm going to add a tin of chopped tomatoes. Okay. So when I'm at work at Munchies, I tend to use this kind of size. Okay, so that's going in now. A nice tip for these is, if you can, is to put a little bit of red wine or a little bit of water inside the tin, swirl it round, just to clean it out like this, and then you should end up using absolutely everything inside the tin, which means that you haven't wasted anything. Because there's nothing worse than wasting food. We do not waste food. Okay, so you can see now, can you see? I'm just coming a little bit. Can you see now? So everything's starting to come together nicely. And it's starting to thicken itself as well, because the tomatoes will now provide a natural thickness to the juice. Okay, so now, next one in is a little bit of beef stock. So this is a beef bouillon. So it's like, it looks like jelly. Probably use stock cubes in your house, but this is amazing. And stock cubes are great, but they can sometimes not disperse properly. So like a gel cube is better, or a gel stock. We're just going to take a little bit with our spoon and drop it in. I love it. It's like slime, but brown. Okay. So in my garden, I've got a bay tree. It's amazing. I can't show it to you because it's off camera, but it's about 20 foot tall, and on it has leaves that look a bit like this, very like this, because this is them. And this is bay, and bay usually is dried, and lots of people use it dried, but actually I find it so much more flavoursome if it's fresh. So if you can find a bay tree in your garden, most homes have got one. Just take a few off, pull them down like that, 2 or 3, in you go. And you can see now we're really starting to get something together here that looks rather yummy. Then I don't use a lot of salt in cooking, but when I do use salt, I use Malden sea salt because it's natural, and it's made in Malden, which is in Essex, not far away, and it's made on the salt beds, so it's not processed at all. It's a very natural, pure salt, and the flavour is so different to a table salt, and it isn't actually that much more expensive, so it's definitely worth the extra few pennies, which isn't much. So I'm not going to use much because we've got beef stock, just a teeny. I don't know if you can see the flakes. It's actually like a flake. Can you see that? It's amazing. Okay, so we're just going to put a teeny bit in, not too much, because salt acting in large quantities isn't good for you. So you just want enough to bring out the flavour. Okay, so now, guys, I have Bolognese sauce, and just to finish, because you know I like to finish on a high. I've done it, just maybe it would just help to show the presentation. I've got some penne that we cooked earlier. So Jack, this is sad at the moment. So when he comes off, he'll be definitely ready for some tea. So I'm going to dish it up just to show you, but most of you know what it looks like anyway in a bowl. But this should now sit on a low heat for about another 20 minutes to half an hour, just simmering away, just to get all of the vegetables cooked, get all of the beef cooked, and make sure that those carrots are cooked through. Okay, but just because I'm going to do a little demo, I'm just going to put some on here like that, just so you can see it in the bowl. And then I'm going to put the bay leaf on like that, if you can see that. And then I've got some grated mature cheddar. I'm going to pop on the top. Okay, like that. And there you go. You've got your pasta bolognese. See you all later.